Yes, Anna?
My question is, obviously you had many projects, but being the most iconic Xena and Renegades, my question is, which character do you think was more fun or most challenging to just do?
Girl, you're trying to start a turf war.
Yeah.
I'm being asked to pick my favorite character in a room of various fandoms. That is terrible. That's like, oh, and by the way, this is a Molotov cocktail. The one thing that I will say is my three sort of most iconic characters would be Captain Lexa Singh from Renegades, Maris Brood from Star Wars The Force Unleashed, and Olivia and Eve from Xena Warrior Princess. And what I find incredibly fascinating about all three of them is that all three of them have dual personalities and a story that has a huge arc where you have Olivia, who starts evil, has this epiphany, finds her way back to Eve. You have Maris Brood, who starts as a Jedi, as an amazing Jedi who, some of you don't even know this because this was not all included in the games. You kind of only know it if you know all the backstories. But she was kind of like Robin Hood. She would rob from the rich to give to the poor. She was a pirate who, she was using all of her skills for good to help those less fortunate. And then she gets trapped on all of the Jedi start being murdered, and she gets trapped on a planet by herself for years and goes crazy. And that's how she becomes a Sith. That's how she goes to the dark side. So again, she has that transition. Is not necessarily evil, but has sort of lost her mind, so she's sort of become that. And then you also have, who haven't I said yet? Sorry, cold meds. Then Lexa Singh, who is not a bad character, but has had her mom stolen from her and murdered. She was a genetic experiment. People think that they own her, like the tattoo, which is one of my favorite parts of the character, is actually like a brand. It's something that they put on her to identify her as theirs. And she is not a bad character, but is willing to do whatever it takes, even if it's morally ambiguous, to reach the other side of all this stuff. And I just think it's interesting that those three female characters are ones that have landed in my workspace. So it's kind of interesting. I do think they're all interconnected, and they somehow all are tied to one another and lead into one another.
Like yin and yang.
Exactly, yin and yang, exactly.